Zombie games are everywhere. The idea of the living coming back from the dead has fascinated so many people, from TV shows to novels and to video games. There are a plethora of zombie games to choose from, but there was a unique case of a very obscure zombie game that had 10 million downloads in less than a month, and after its success, it mysteriously vanished. Both the game and the developer's websites were gone without a trace. This is the rise and fall of Dead Town. So, what is Dead Town? Well, Dead Town is a top-down survival zombie game created by Lemon Puppy Games, a Korean indie studio consisting of two friends. The game is simple. You are dropped into an unnamed town and have to survive for as long as you can. You have your standard health and hunger bar, along with a calendar to keep track of the days. You need to scavenge for resources to be able to craft weapons and tools to aid in your survival, especially as the zombies are relentless and come in many different shapes and forms. Apart from the standard zombie, there's the Charger and Boomer zombie. Both are pretty self-explanatory, but there are also two unique types, like the Frog zombie, which can hop over any of your traps and poison you should they get too close. Then there's zombies like the Spider zombie, which will slow down players with their webs for other zombies to catch up. There's also 4 bosses that spawn in certain parts of the map on certain days. The Centipede that circles and strafes the player, the Giant, which is just what it is, a giant zombie, the Rafflesia that can't actually move but has 3 tentacles with various effects that can attack the player and pull them in close. Lastly is the Hedgehog, which just shoots squills at you. If you're wondering why just a hedgehog, according to the developer, they saw one while studying abroad and just thought it was cool. Also, just like Minecraft, there's crafting, but instead of one crafting table, there are 2. The starter table, which lets you craft relatively simple things, mostly related to wood, like wooden barricades, doors, and standard weapons. You can even craft a bike to pedal around the town faster. However, once you manage to find enough metal materials, you can upgrade to a pro crafting table, which lets you work on more modern items, like iron version of previous tools, generators, and the most important of all, turrets. Using electricity is essential for most electronic-based structures and survival in general. You even have 3 options to choose what energy to power these machines. In order to survive in Dead Town, you'll have to act smart and fast, as the game offers so many options, like where you should set up base, what kind of items you should save for first, what bosses to fight, where to get certain items, and many more. The game doesn't hold your hand, so you're free to experiment and tackle any situation in any way you want. There's also no wiki to go off of, and the only guides you'll have are mostly from other players who either post about it on forums or on YouTube. It gives off a sense of freedom to basically survive how you want. And while there's no traditional multiplayer, with Google Play leaderboards, it's fun to compete with other players worldwide to see how far they got. And I could go on and on about the other options, but if I did, this video would probably be 3 times as long. But the best part of the game was that it was free to play, this time with profit not being the main focus, meaning anyone can download it and give it a try, and not have ads shoved into your face every 2 minutes.
Hey guys, it's flying gorilla.
On top of that, it was also released during late 2016, the same year as the rise of .io games. For those who may or may not know, IO games were those super popular online browser games from 2016, and it all started with Agario. You play as a circle and eat other circles to become the biggest circle. And while different genres, it's sort of similar if you think about it. Going out to scavenge for resources to get stronger and evolve, while having a super simplistic art style that can be run on any device. Also, about 2 years prior, there was a game in early access that could have directly inspired it called Darkwood, a horror survival game with the same top-down perspective. In that game, you also had to manage resources to survive against whatever was in the woods with you. The game looked really cool and many wanted to play it, however not everyone could afford a laptop or a computer, so the free-to-play Dead Town was a good alternative. With how successful the game turned out, it must have had a bright future ahead of it, right? Well, that couldn't be farther from the truth, as shortly after the devs announced the 10 million downloads, they went silent, and eventually their site was taken down and the game itself was lost, which left the fanbase heartbroken and most importantly, confused. It had everything going for it and it just suddenly stopped, with many wondering what happened to Lemon Puppy Games and what happened to Dead Town. The first place I went to check was going to be their socials. Apart from their official website, Lemon Puppy Games had 3 different accounts: a YouTube channel, a Twitter, and a Facebook. Starting with their YouTube, they only had 2 videos, the trailer for the game, and some kind of video showcase simply titled Cream. From what I've gathered, Navir is a Korean browser and Cream is some kind of game launcher, sort of like Adobe Player. On their Twitter, it was just 4 posts, 3 related to the game's launch, and their final post, which was the announcement of the 10 million downloads. Same goes for their Facebook. And since their website has long been offline, it was time to whip out All Reliable. In the same way I did my Punch Hero video a few years back, I used the Wayback Machine to see if there was any clues before it was taken down. Here's what it looks like. It was a simple web page with an email and the 2 developers, but with how long it's been, I highly doubt the emails would work, so I saved it for last and instead looked up their names to see if I could find anything else. For Kim, there's a Korean soccer player with that name, however there was one page that caught my attention. This one in particular of a game developer with the same name, but in reverse. Sort of like a Japanese name. He even had the same black hair and wore glasses, presumably like the one in the photo with him wearing shades. But I checked and Korean names aren't like Japan's, and the timeline wasn't right. But it was pretty close. As for Yun, there was nothing to note except for the last name. With nothing out of their socials and website, it was time for the next best thing: Reddit. Now this seems like a no-brainer since you can probably find almost all answers here, but nobody seemed to know what happened to the game either, including the subreddit, with half having the same questions while the other half are people claiming to revive or remake Dead Town to bring their beloved game back. Many have tried, but most weren't successful. However, that's when I stumbled upon this user, Nemian Games. He announced on July 3rd of 2021 that he'd build the game from scratch using the Unity engine. Nemian had some experience with developing a game, however he wasn't really a programmer, so his main goal was to gather a team of artists and programmers using his Discord server. It took a while, but a year later, in September 2022, Nemian finally gathered enough people and funding to start the Dead Town Revival project. And while progress was slow, their biggest breakthrough would be around 2024 of this year, where Nemian's team managed to get into contact with both the Korean community and Lemon Puppy Games themselves. Unfortunately, the 2 were no longer interested in the game, however, they gave the team all of the game's original assets. So now they had all the pieces, the only thing left was to put them together. And now, partnered with a publisher called CC Century, they brought Dead Town back. 2 versions in fact, Dead Town Survival and Dead Town Defense. Survival being the original and Defense being their own spin on the gameplay. And both games released to very positive reviews, as it managed to capture the spirit and feel of the original, although Apple users will have to wait a little bit longer. And that's pretty much the story of Dead Town. 2 Korean friends managed to create a game that captivated the hearts of players from across the world. And when it disappeared, instead of being forgotten, the very same fanbase got together and brought it back from the dead. Thanks for watching. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Sorry it took a little bit longer than usual to finish than I would have liked, but I at least got to learn some cool history of how such a small game managed to bring itself back to the power of its fans. Now, by the time this video is out, it's probably a few days past Christmas or something. So that means the next video on Shadow Fight 2 won't be out until next year, as I'll be trying to enjoy the holidays, and I highly doubt I could finish such a big video in under a week. Although I might make another update video talking about my plans for 2025. Either way, until next time, I'll see you guys next year and in the next video. Take care, Merry Christmas, and Happy Holidays.